We're live.
Good evening, everybody, and a big welcome to the Ollies. Uh, it is exactly 7 o'clock, and I hope and come and join us. Right, viewers around over here, I need to keep chatting with you all because I have to tell you something about Ollies, and I have to. So let us start with Ollies because most of you all know what Ollies. It's a forum. It's now become a very major forum. I should certainly like to think so. And we will be talking, we have been talking in terms of advertising. We have been talking about a lot of things in advertising, including running our ad addas. And I now find that we having coined the word ad adda, there are some others who are also doing ad addas. Huh? So
Yeah.
at least we have the privilege of being what do you call copied, put it simply. Uh, Now, this ad addas have now moved on. We are constantly adding more addas, and we also have a special page in Facebook for Bengali advertising. So all the addas in Bengali in the page are happening in Bangla, and the group remains the platform where we keep exchanging and sharing our ideas. To make to everybody that when you are posting something in the group, please see to it that it has something to do with advertising and advertising in general, not
Yes.
your own company's advertising. And this is very important because we are not here to promote any individual or a company. We are here to promote good understanding of good like a think tank. So let's criticize or advertising that we are seeing around us, right? So that now, having said all that, we have now decided that every Saturday at 7 to 6:30 because we realize that it clashes with the IPL time. Uh, we have been starting this case studies. Now, the first case study that we had last Saturday, to quote one of my ex-bosses who would come back from a presentation and we used to ask him, sir, how it went? And the answer was, oh, it went like a bomb. Now, we didn't know which way the bomb went. The agency side or whether the bomb went the client side, but it went like a bomb. But I can tell you for sure, very positively, Mr. Hardeep Singh, former managing director of Polar, who made the presentation on fan ads. We have all become fans of Mr. Singh. That's the bottom line. It really went like a bomb. And in the process, what has happened
Yeah.
is that everybody is wanting more, right, Deshpriyo? Everybody is wanting more, and he has
Yeah.
done another problem.
Yeah.
He has set a benchmark. He has set a benchmark. Now all
Yeah.
presentations have to keep up to that benchmark. Okay, so that's number one. That's number two. Number three is that Ollie's, I must also tell you, is now getting structured. We are waiting for the company to be registered, which will happen anytime once these Sarkari, because COVID is a wonderful card they keep playing whenever they want. And Deshpriyo keeps going there and coming back and saying that why they will talk tomorrow. Uh,
Yeah.
but we are taking, yeah,
Every
but
day.
we are
Every day.
taking members every day. So we are taking members. There are two kinds of members. One are associate members who are, do some voluntary work instead. That's about it. So you can be a volunteer, like what we are calling. Now there are two words to be used. On one said that they're called cadres. You just do some work for the, and the other is the right wing word for cadre, whatever it is, sevaks. Now, that's one side, jokes apart, but we need young people to come in, young, old people to come in, old with their wisdom and experience, the young with their enthusiasm. So we start off with this members, and the others are permanent members, where till end of 30th of October, you pay 5,000 rupees one time, and then of course 1,000 rupees every year, and become what we call is a senior member or a voting member. So the membership drive is on. Please write sadda@gmail and tell us that you want to become a member. We'll have a form sent to you, mail, which you can fill up and send it to us. Please do this very fast because membership is now closing. We have got reasonably good number. A lot of people from Bangladesh have also opted to become members. Am I right, Deshpriyo?
Yeah.
There are people from
Yeah, yeah,
Bangladesh
yeah.
who are opting to
Many,
become
many
members.
people, many people.
Many people. So let's not numbers from India, right? So
Yeah.
please send your numbers in. Now, today's speaker is Mr. Kishore Chakravarty. And Kishore Chakravarty is going to talk on culture in communication. I will bring, and Kishore's presentation will be moderated by Mr. Shovan Nandi. So you have worlds. Kishore Chakravarty being moderated by Shovan Nandi. What I will do now is that who is our chief of COO, you're what chief, right, Deshpriyo, because you do this kind of managers and get the form done. So no, we are very happy with you. We are very happy with you. So you better laugh, buddy. Otherwise, I'm going to take you on after this. By the way, one more thing. On the 8th, okay, no, that I will tell you in the end. But first, let's get on with today's case study. Let me,
Yeah. So
Deshpriyo, please bring in Kishore and Shobhan, and then I will introduce them. And then you,
yeah,
so bring them
here
in
we
and stay with
go.
me. Once they start, we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right, there is Kishore Chakravarty.
Hi.
Right, and Kishore, wave to everybody, and there is
Hello.
Jodhpur Park. So that's how we are. That's the magic of internet. Now, Kishore, let me start with you because you are our guest about the subject. But tell me something. You know, your career in advertising, and we have worked together for a short while. We have known each other very well for a very long time. But Kishore, you had done language work in Bengali. You went on to become an account servicing person. You did a lot certain for Keo Carping when you were working in Tarasina in that 17 Colin Lane office.
Yeah.
Bill manager, went on to an administrative thing, and then you came back to, you were in Nepal for a while, then you came back to Kolkata, and then with all migratories except Shobhan did not other places, you and I went to Delhi. You were the McCann guy, and you were a part of the McCann in training, and you were supposed to be the big boy consumer behavior. Understand? At the same time, you have possibly been teaching. Where have you not taught? From Delhi School of Economics, Faculty of Management Studies in Delhi University, IIMs in your thing where you have been a visiting faculty or whatever. And it's amazing. What I want to ask you is, now that you have retired from McCann and you're full time on your own, my question is, how do you manage this so many assignments and so much of teaching, and what effect do you think this academics is having on the students?
Hi. Good evening, everybody. And you should know that Shujitda was also my boss. So therefore, as a boss, he always pumps me up. And when he pumps me up, I know that something is coming. So he has already pumped me up, and now he wants to know how I manage. Being an astute advertising guy, it's always in our DNA that we multitask. So as we are navigating through it, there are generally requests from industry or from the business schools that you come and talk and share your case studies to the younger generations and other things. So in between, I started taking a fancy out of it. And the other way, I also find out that two things, that when you go to universities, when you go to the younger generation, you have got access to their world, and that as an admin is very, very important. Think of any brand in the world, it is the youth. You got to understand their pulse. If you understand their pulse, they will not come to you. Who will come to a man with a white beard, white hair? ये बुड्ढा का साथ क्या करना है? कुछ नहीं है. But if you become a teacher, then it opens up a platform. So whatever I started exploiting that, And I must tell you that I have learned equal amount of things from them if I have also shared something with me. So that's what is the thing. And I started doing a parallel sort of straddling on both this world, advertising world and the academic world. And this also started having in my mind that advertising is a young man's profession. The moment you start graying, people will give you a
Right.
kick and you are out of it. There is only one profession where gray hair is appreciated, and that's teaching. So there is a mercenary angle also to it. And once I start, I got mesmerized into it. Consumer in my interest, youth is my passion, and thereby I started moving from one place to another, and that's the way it is.
Wow, 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 wow. Sure. Excellent. Very well done. Now, one last question to you. You also have authored two. It's called The Listening Eyes, if I remember it correctly. And the other is the one that you have just published very recently. I forget the name now.
The desire,
Yeah, can
denial,
you? Yeah, the desire. Now,
desire, and immersion. Evolution
so
of
there you
Indian
are.
consumer.
Evolution between denials and desire. These two books. First of all, tell me, when you write these kind of books, I mean, you as a practicing advertising man now, you must be doing it because you want to put your thoughts up and share it with a larger number of people. How are these books responding? Because these books are all about Indian consumer and the art of actually listening eyes. I have gone through that book myself, so it also must be taking up your time. And what has been the response like with these books with the students and the industry?
You see, Listening Eyes is actually a collection of essays. And most of these
Right,
essays I started writing into different columns, either in Financial Express, Asian Age, and some of the sites like Agency FAQs and media, and some other newspapers and other things. So at one point of time, I was given an assignment that you got to write for one full year. So therefore, I started looking at things, and these also forced me to find out what are the changes taking place, what are the new things are coming, and I took advertising and marketing as my lens to find out why new kind of advertising,
right,
what are they talking about us, what are the new things, because you we all know that we really crack our head every day, against the wall to find out what is new, what is happening. So decoding marketing, decoding communication is also one way of understanding what is happening around the world, what is happening around the marketing world, what is happening into the minds of the consumers. And that's why this kind of communications the brands are coming up with. They are spending loads and loads of money in terms of media. So that's one passion. And once you start seeing it, the fact is, today you talk about race, tomorrow you talk about healthcare, day after you talk about something, and the moment you start talking, suddenly you will find you are actually assembling a jigsaw puzzle. And through once you put these
right.
jigsaw puzzles, suddenly the bigger picture comes out. Just because this is happening, this is also happening, and that's the bigger thing. And that is like almost like an intoxication. You go on happening. What is happening? What is the impact of COVID today in our
Right.
brands?
I
We are
get it.
we are stuck.
Yeah.
Hmm? So that's the way listening I started. And then the collection of the essays, I actually sorted it out under different heads, and of course do some more writings to give it in the shape of the brand, shape of a book. Now, desire, denial, desire, emotion is actually a full book, which is coming from a bigger perspective of, I was trying to tell people that we are a casteist society, and most of our value systems are being imposed on us by our caste. It's the Brahmins who decided initially what all we should do, what all we should not do, and their philosophy guided our consumption culture. And then over the years, as the world moves on, the Brahminical values was replaced by the Kshatriya values, which is much more consumptive. Brahminical values is restraint, Kshatriya values is much more consumptive. Go and enjoy. And then the, the Vaishya values came. The industry people who said that money is everything, money is the power, and we will create a new world through this. And of course, along with this, our old Shudra, who is the foot soldier of everybody, emerging India, they started interacting with us. And with this, everything is changing. Every everything started
No, no,
happening. So
we
I find a flow in this, and I wrote this book, and in between I try to find out that this flow of social history and political history has got a link with our consumption culture, and over the years this is
no,
happening. We
excellent.
have seen.
Which is,
So that's basically is the book. It's very difficult to
I'm sure
paraphrase a
all of
book.
us, no, no, but I'm sure all of us have a copy of it because you're talking standard brand academics. Now, let me come to Shobon. Now, Shobon, this time you and I are in the wrong party this evening. What he's talking about is not the you and I from Broad Street where we live. But I first knew Shobon as a client. He was a client of our agency called ACIL, and he was doing a lot of work for Lloyd's. And I also noticed that Shobon once was there in a presentation where he called the agency managing director his managing director. So obviously the client's managing naturally because director Mr. Dilip Sen, which meant the agency managing director. So he has done these kind of faux pas and got away with it. And got away with it to the extent that Shobon has been a very what I know of Shovan A, he has been a very hardcore advertising guy, working in different agencies. Shovan, you were in Mudra for a long time. You were in Thompson's also. You did a 30 bonded note stint, did you?
Yeah,
Um,
I did.
uh,
I did.
yeah, he did a 30
I did.
bonded note stint. Yeah.
But I was an outlier there.
Why?
I felt so after going from Clarion.
Right. Yeah, after going
I
from Clarion, yeah, he was in Clarion, then he was in HTA, then he was in a Mudra then he did his own thing, and now he does the best thing. Like Kishore, he teaches. Shobhan, you are now into teaching. You are into academics. You teach in a number of places. In Kolkata, right? Uh,
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
where all do you teach?
I teach basically marketing, branding, and part of
Oh,
advertising. I'm more into
okay. Now
branding.
see, I mean, I'm very glad because we have a now Deshpriyo. These two people are all knowledgeable. But having said all that, Bob, which I've requested you on behalf of all is, you will be the moderator for today's shows, which means that both of you all will stay in the show. Kishore will make the presentation because I later realized that if you go backstage, then you will not be able to bring up the comments. So Shobon and Kishore, I have requested Shobon because we need somebody to handle these kind of questions. And so therefore, by the way, Shobhan of late has been writing lovely little essays about his growing up in Kolkata, which is all great fun on Facebook. We have asked him that please start putting it down and to putting it down in a book. And I told him, see, I did this for Life in a Rectangle. He says, yeah, I will do one outside the rectangle. Please, Shobhan, we are looking forward to it. Right? So they're wonderful stories. And give us your stories of advertising. I mean, I can't go into it in all details, but we know some of the campaigns that you have worked in, and it's been great, really great fun. All right. So I'll leave the floor to Kishore, and Shobhan will be with him. And Deshpriyo, you and I will
Ah,
now get out. We'll come only in the
go to the
end to
backstage.
say, we'll go to the backstage and we'll be kicked out. So all the best.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
people are here. And Kishore, you go. You have got exactly 55 minutes to complete this presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So here we
yeah.
go.
Am I visible? Is the screen visible?
Yes, yes, it's visible. Kishore, carry on.
Okay, okay. It's very difficult task to present something on culture in a very short span of time, that to about 50 minutes, no? Because this presentation that has been chalked out is far bigger than that. But nevertheless, we face this kind of situation all the time, and we need to cut our code according to the time. So the first thing is that culture power, the role of culture in communication. What is culture? I am not going into any definition of culture, but the fact, because we know there is a popular culture, there is a country culture, it's always there, which is reflected in our rituals, in our customs, etc. And then there is a popular culture which is reflected in our movies, in our brands and other things. But the fact is, when you start to understand culture in the context of marketing, then some more inputs are coming. The brands are having a culture. Category has its own culture. Media has its own culture. And finally, the consumer also is driven by his own culture. So whose culture we will study? Every culture is very important. Brand is powerful. Look at the brand like Nike. And if you have seen this Colin Kaepernick campaign, where this yeah, rugby player, he refused to stand up why the UK national anthem, US national anthem was played, because he wanted to defy. And he said that I believe in something, that your policy of apartheid has to be protested, and this is my way of protest. So Nike says that believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Nike has lost fair amount of consumer because of this, but they don't bother. They said that just do it. If you believe something, just do it. And today, when the Black life matters, they are also changing their lines. They said, just don't do it. So the fact is, the brand becomes a new messiah, and they are importing a new culture. So that can also influence the mind of the people. Category has its own culture. We'll be discussing there. We have some slides where we are talking about the case study, where we are talking about the category of gold and diamond, that how in India the gold culture is being replaced by the diamond culture. Of course, media is, I don't have to tell you that how the culture of media has actually transformed news into a mockery. And it is very difficult for a marketer have to understand everything, because if you are not understanding your media, associating it themselves with that culture will probably bring down whatever is the profile of your brand. And of course, on top of it, there is the consumer culture, the culture of us who are living in the society. Now, if we start the study, whose culture we should first study? I think that if marketing is a notanki, then the consumer is the protagonist of this. So if you really follow consumer, the way he is changing, you will be not off your target, and it will be easier for us to navigate. So therefore, latch on to the consumer culture first. But then the main question is, how dependable is the consumer? And as far as Indian consumers, they are even more unpredictable. If you don't believe it, some of the brands are saying it. A very international brand, Indian international brand, they says about Indian consumers how we are like this only. Just have a look at this. I hope the video runs. Well, that's the way we are. That's the way many consumers are. Don't just blame on the Indian consumers. Because across the world, consumers are a riddle. You can't fathom them. There are many reasons. And what is the riddle? I think consumer is the biggest liar. I'm a consumer, you are a consumer, and I'm telling you, boss, we are confirmed liars. We don't want to tell what is the reality. Ask me what I have for my breakfast. I may have some those sukhi roti, but should I tell you that? I'll tell you that I had an English breakfast with eggs and bacons and this and that and others. So that's the fundamental problem. As human being, we are always living our life at two levels. At the one is the as the reality, the stark reality of the life, and the other is the our ideal life, the one life I want to dream, I want to lead. And every time I'm straddling between these two, I'll always talk about what I want to be rather than what I am today, and therefore it's very difficult. And that's why in between this reality and what I am going to be, the brands are playing the games. Brand says, you want to be that, you want to be that? Come on, use my brand, use Fair and Lovely and be glamorous. That's one. Second thing is, the second problem with the consumer is the consumer doesn't know what they want. That's why Henry Ford at one point of time said that if I have asked my consumer what did they want, they would probably have said faster horses. Because usko concept ही नहीं था what he was going to do. Ask them anything moving on the four legs, they will say horse. But did Henry Ford give them a horse? He has given them a mechanical contraption which runs on horsepower, but not horse. So therefore, you got to understand and you got to preempt and then give something. Consumer can only react. It is very, very faulty when you ask consumer what do you want. Third is, there is nothing called all-time consumer. We think that we are consumers and consumers once for all. How many times that has happened with you and also happened with me? I saw this great advertising of Samsung Galaxy Mobile. 20,000 bucks is the price. I checked out the feature. I'm sold on this. I went to Chroma. I saw the product. I liked it. But then since I've come to Chroma, I started also looking at the other products. I also checked out Micromax and Xiaomi, other brands. And then I come back to my Galaxy. The moment I picked up my brand, the salesman says, "Sir, isko pack kar do? 20,000 bucks." The moment he said 20,000 bucks, my alter ego comes out of, and he starts arguing with me. He said, "Pagal hai, 20,000 rupiya. Have you seen the Micromax? 10,000 rupiya mein ye sare milta hai, or there are 5 more features also extra. Why are you doing this?" Now, the fact is, I have not thought of these things. I have not asked these questions before. The moment I open my purse, it opens a new sort of circuit in my mind, and I started asking questions which I've never ever asked. So, end result, I came with the confidence of Samsung, and I went out with the satisfaction of Micromax. बच के रहना consumer से. Don't let this bugger alone. Don't leave it till such time you get his money. The end point, last mile is very important. And last thing is, consumer is programmed. See, most of consumer behaviors are actually very reflexive. If I come to you and my leg hit your body, first thing I do, I will do some namaskar to you. And it's very instinctive. So that's what culture says. An American would have said sorry. Right? We don't say that. We do this. So it's almost absolutely, if you don't believe, it is as if our mind is totally programmed. We are born with a programming in our mind. Somebody has already put some programming in our mind. If you don't believe, I'll ask you to think about the earliest days of your childhood. You will find even as a tender child, you knew what was right, what was wrong. Kya chahiye, kya nahi chahiye. Look at this toddler. He said, "Mummy, ये chocolate ले लूं?" हाँ बेटा ले लो. And if he has eyed a video game which is 10,000 bucks, he will not come, "Mummy, give me video games." What will do? He will lie down on the floor and cry. He will create tantrums. He will throw tantrums. He knew that ये इतना आसानी से मिलेगा नहीं. So therefore, I have to have a strategy. Who has given him this knowledge? What is right? What is wrong? What is acceptable? What is not acceptable? How this programming is coming? So this programming is something which comes, in short, is our culture, which comes from the family, society, social class, opinion groups, opinion leaders, in terms of huge basket of things which are happening, plus our roles and rituals and customs. All this play together to create our voices. And they become so powerful in our mind that in many cases, they take over our decisions. It is very difficult to fathom, to break this barrier. And once you do that, then you got to find out that what is the culture barrier we are fighting. I'll show you a small case study of Afghanistan Ministry of Public Health. Is in Afghanistan, what happens? They are doing some child immunization program. Afghanistan has a tradition that whenever a child is born, they put a black sort of kala dhaga, which is a black bracelet around the child's thing to ward off evil. And according to their culture, the moment you put that kala dhaga, all the evil is warded off, and therefore he will not fall sick. Now, in this situation, when the WHO team comes and starts doing the immunization program, there was a social pressure. क्यों कर रहे हैं? The mothers are also saying that the moment you give an inoculation, the baby starts crying. अच्छा खासा baby is there and इसको रुला दिया. And then the resultant fever, etc. He said that मुसीबत क्यों लाने हैं? And therefore there is a resistance from the mothers, and resistance in many ways. A is mothers are not interested. So whenever you give them the history of inoculation, they either you give them a booklet, they lose the booklet, and their memory, they don't have any intention also to memorize the thing. So the fact is, doctors are actually facing a blank wall. He said that kya kare? If I don't have the history, medical history, then in that, if I do an MMR injection to a child twice, the child can die. So out of this desperation, they said that we can't do anything. And then they came to the communication agency. They said, can you do something? Can you actually convince these people so that they go through this program? Agency identified what is the problem. The problem is culture, the barrier of Kala Dhaga. And the strategy is, can we convert this Kala Dhaga into our favor and do something which will, rather than confronting the culture, can we piggyback the culture? I will not say you the total thing. I think this is the video is self-explanatory. There's a whole lot of explanations inside it. You will know from your...
The immunization history of a child. It's what doctors the world over refer to and check which vaccine is due. But this is Afghanistan, a land with the world's worst infant mortality rate, where traditional biases and remote areas mean doctors have to work without proper immunization history.
We are facing a lot of challenges due to high level of illiteracy and different traditional beliefs in the community.
To counter Afghanistan's traditional bias against immunization, we turn to another tradition. This little bracelet is a common sight in Afghanistan, a lucky charm that protects Afghan newborns from evil forces. Today, this bracelet protects from much more. This is the immunity charm, a simple thread with colored beads that are messages from doctors to each other and to the people of Afghanistan. Each colored bead is code for a specific vaccine. With every vaccination, doctors add the corresponding bead to the bracelet. a reminder of a baby's immunization history worn by the baby. Requiring just 1-hour training programs, the immunity charm has excited the healthcare community in Afghanistan and beyond.
I'm really excited about the immunity charm because it turns culture into incentive and a bracelet into long lineups of mothers and children at vaccine clinics.
On one side, this is in line with the traditional beliefs of the community. On the other side, that will remind the healthcare provider which vaccines are implemented.
On seeing the pilot's success, the government will be extending the immunity.
On one side, this is in line with the traditional beliefs of the community. On the other side, that will remind.
Anyway, I think there's something wrong with the video, but you have understood the whole thing. What they have done is actually making that kala dhaga is more attractive with colored beads, and each colored bead has a corresponding inoculation plans. And therefore, the child itself becomes the history of its own inoculation plan. And the mothers are saying that the colored bead looks better on the child. And earlier they were resisting it. Now they were envying each other. Bhala mera bachcha ka dhaga itna colorful hai, uska kyun nahi hai? And then they come voluntarily. So it's a human mind, and the human mind can do many wonderful things if you really get into that. What is the barrier? The cultural barrier was thus surpassed in this way. You crack it, and this is a very successful program. Now, what we are trying to do, this is not in Afghanistan. Every country has its own barriers. In India, truckloads of brands have came after globalization. But many of the brands have to go back because they couldn't connect with the consumer. This in India, the culture of India is almost like an invisible shield. And most of the time, they confront the consumer in that way. They couldn't go forward to that. For 10 years, Coca-Cola has been talking about share my dream, share my Coca-Cola, always the real thing. What did Indians say? My foot. You are not my real thing. You may be Donald Trump's real thing, but not me. So it took Coca-Cola. I said, what is real for them? I said, Thanda. We belong to the culture of Thanda, and which is much more than a drink, which is a courtesy, which is also a relationship. The moment a person is angry, we say, "Pani pi jao, thande ho jao." Ghar pe aake pani nahi piya is insulting them. Give them a glass of water. That's the least courtesy that you can. So that's a very bigger world of social connectivity. And also there is a world of huge spiritual implication, which is coming up with the Thanda and Pani. We connect with our ancestors by offering them water. Now, the moment the Coca-Cola starts saying, share my dream, we are not sharing dream. We are actually becoming more Indian and trying to merge ourselves with your concept of Thanda. Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola got connected. But it took them 10 full years to understand that. Kellogg's. Every time Kellogg's talked about many things, they wanted to change our breakfast habit. But it didn't happen. Because Indian mothers always believe that roti or doodh, these are the things. माँ का हाथ का रोटी और दूध, इसी में जो ताकत है, किसी में वो ताकत नहीं है. Initially, Kellogg started having that it increases the brain power, with which they made a little bit of success. After that, they thought that no, target the mother, and they talked about the slimming, etc., etc. And finally, at one level, said, "Bhaiya, if you are talking about, if you are so sold on your doodh and your roti, then एक कटोरी Kellogg's is equal to 1 glass milk and 2 rotis. नहीं माँ, आप तो खरीद. So that's what they're saying. If you look at chocolate, I think you are right for Amul chocolate, but that's the end of it. After that, the chocolate market, if you really want to expand it, then what happens? You need to break out from the chocolate world. Chocolate became meetha. So in that case, what happens? Coke became thanda, Kellogg's became roti, and chocolate became meetha. And by being Indian, these brands started expanding in India. So now, to understand, if I know that what is the core cultural values of Indian consumer, if we can fathom that, then we are actually fathoming a lot of things in the consumer's mind, because I am getting into the unconscious reflexive world of the consumer. Yes, consumer will be changing, but if you understand 50% that these things will be accepted, these things will not be accepted. If it is not accepted, then we have to make extra effort to crack that. So how do we understand culture? How do we understand the consumption culture? There is a whole lot of models to understand that culture, which I am not discussing over here. Gert Hofstede, you heard, he's an anthropologist, he studies culture. He said that each culture is driven by a core idea. That core idea is reflected through the rituals, role models, and symbols. If you study, you will find that that core idea will be the one which you should expect. You should understand and try to make your strategy aligned with that core idea. So what is the core idea of Indian consumption culture? It says that there are two elements. One is the element of restraint, the other the element of Brahmanical. Because as I said in the beginning of the lecture, that with a discussion with Sujita about my book, I said that all our values are put by people, the Brahmin Panditji. He decides what is right and wrong. And we have been a society which is a very poverty-driven society. We have to manage many with small, meager means. And therefore, in a situation when you have this, then what happens? We always try to create a culture for ourselves which enables us to cope up with our poverty. And what is that culture? The culture is the culture of restraint. And now the expression of the culture of restraint is manifested in many our behavior pattern. One of the behavior pattern is glorification of frugality. Now, if आपका घर में 2 रोटी है, 4 बंदा है उसको खिलाने के लिए, then what are the kind of thing strategy you will put? You will always say, देखो, if you eat less, you are a good boy. बेटा तुम कितना रोटी खाते हो? आधा रोटी, very good. बेटा तुम कितना रोटी खाते हो? 2 रोटी, very bad. And if somebody says that I also eat adha roti and I also share it with my brother, you are my acha bacha. So that's the way. That's the way you glorify frugality and glorify and create a disdain for excesses. Whoever is splurging, whoever is earning money, these people are being looked upon as a sort of with suspicion. Everywhere you look at businessmen has always been looked upon as villains and social inferiors. Look at all our cultures. Have you seen a Hindi film villain who is poor? No. All Indian villains are rich. They are staying in the Havelis. They are riding the Mercedes. And they are oppressive. All the Babajis, all the Lalajis, they are being ridiculed. Because anybody having money is not accepted in the society. It's very difficult. I'm not saying that money people are bad people. Businessmen, they're very hard-working people. But in India, it is very difficult to take money home. That's why you have to. Anybody having money is said chore. So the fact is, what is coming back over and over again, that anybody who is earning money, he wants to take home, he had to do some social work, he had to build a mandir, he had to build some hospital, some sarak. Then only society will probably say, "Acha, theek hai, kam chor." What are the other things? Other thing is enjoyment of the ordinary. We always try to say that make life can be enjoyed. You really don't have to splurge. That's why our games are what? Kabaddi, national games, खो खो. कबड्डी में क्या है? कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं है. We have got plenty of people. We have enough population. खेलो. खो खो में all your investment is a kutta, is a pole. और बाकी क्या है? What is the most popular thing? अंताक्षरी. तुम एक गाना गाओ, तुम एक गाना गाओ. Everywhere where people are congregating, you will find that besura, betala admi clapping and doing antakshari. And a program ran by Anu Kapoor ran almost 20 years in our media with having one of the heart earpiece. कैसे हो रहा? We think about that. Fundamentally, what happens? All our behavior pattern is actually driven by inherent fear. कल क्या होगा? We are always preparing sacrificing our today for tomorrow. 10 रुपया मिल गया, मत खाओ. 8 रुपया जमा करके रखो. 2 रुपया रख. 2 रुपया से कम चलाओ. Because tomorrow is a problematic area. Okay, you can always say it sounds very, very old. It is old. But the fact is, lot of these old ghosts we are still carrying. We all are carrying today. So that's why the fear of tomorrow is actually developing what? Across the board. It develop a habit of saving. Save karo, save karo, save karo. And what Indians do? Throughout their life, they save, and then they die. And we always think that और भी कुछ निचोड़ के लो. We don't throw away things. We dislike any disposable thing. 2-bedroom flat. In 1 bedroom, people stay. In another bedroom, dabbas stay. The dabba of TV, the dabba of fridge, the dabba of refrigerator. We always think that one of these days, these things will come. ये होता है. Disposable कुछ नहीं है. There is company, the lighters, disposable lighters came. What Indians did? एक लाइटर का गैस खत्म हो गया, उसको पंचर करके उसमें गैस भर के फिर यूज किया. And the company देखते रहेगी. ये क्या कर? What do we do with this kind of people? पैसा वसूल होना चाहिए. Irrespective of the fact that whether I have got purchasing power or not. Look at our toothpaste in any middle class family. You will find that toothpaste has bent backward. We take out the last drop of paste out of it before we throw away the tube. Anything extra, we will try to extract. 10 रुपया का आलू रेडियो वाला से आप खरीदो. And then you ask for free dhania. Irrespective of the fact that some of these coriander leaves are actually rotting inside your fridge. Chahiye. That day I went into the airport. Indigo was giving a small promotion that if you show the visiting card, boarding card, then you will get a water bottle free. I'm seeing all the marketing people, all the senior people, they are rushing to get that. And most of these people who are rushing to get that, they are actually carrying a 1 liter bottle with them. But वो free. Free होने से चाहिए ही चाहिए. So that's what is part of our game. Disposables, we don't dispose. Take out any of your bistara. You will find there are plastic bags and bags and bags. It deformed the bed, but we always save them. Adjustment is the name of the game. We will always think that adjust kar lo. And that's where every respect we will be doing our adjustment. Whatever we do, our entire society has actually written the script for everybody. Father क्या होना चाहिए, son क्या होना चाहिए, बेटी क्या होना चाहिए. You got to just fit into that. log kya kahenge is very strong important thing. You remember that Asian Paints ad, Sunil Babu, वाह सुनील बाबू, नया घर, नया गाड़ी, वाह भाई वाह. So reference of other people is very important, because you are always being judged. The society always is judging you whether you are doing the right thing. So this is a society which we are carrying, a society which thrives on coping mechanism rather than on economic terms, a society which was trying to manage the absence of the growth, which a society which was structured to control the aspiration of individual people. The moment you have aspirations to have more things, people come, अच्छे बच्चे ऐसे नहीं करता है, you are not the good guy. You are having 10 coats, nalayak. You have not shared it with your siblings. Bad. So therefore, ये cultural problems आता है. But the main problem is culture cast in stone. Culture change नहीं होता. Definitely change होता है. Whatever I have said, it is good. It is actually valid. But changes have already started. I asked my students also that we were always very scared about future, and that's why whenever we get the sarkari naukri, we are very insured. People used to say, अब सरकारी नौकरी मिल गया, अब क्या है, तुम्हारा 150 रुपया का इंक्रीमेंट पक्का, नौकरी भी पक्का, अभी शादी कर लो, 2-4 बच्चा पैदा करो, उसके बाद take your bags, go to the market and come back and save and one fine morning die. So that, and then I asked my students, what do you want to do? What is your planning? They said, sir, you are talking about planning. You're talking about 10 years. We are only talking about 1 year horizon. We'll probably now go out of this class and then probably do some jobs. And after that, we can start our own startups. Somebody said, I'll do some kheti bari. Somebody says, I'll again rejoin the course. Somebody said that I will actually diligently work for 2 years and get some money, and uska baad 1 saal hum kutta घुमाएंगे. I will not do anything. So these are the people. My own generation, they have moved because of the globalization, because of the change. They started slowly showing signs of that tomorrow is always better. Today is good, tomorrow will be better. कल क्या होगा किसका पता नहीं. He said कल का पता है, कल will be, tomorrow will be always better. So these progression will happen, but everywhere the Purana culture will also pull you down. Otherwise, how can we explain that in India why the diesel cars are selling at the high end? Now, of course, the diesel and petrol is almost becoming, but till last year there was this 10 rupee gap between these two petrol and between these two fuels. So what happened? Earlier, people used to buy basic level cars. Now this man has become rich. He can buy a 20 lakh rupee car, but still is choosing diesel because उसका दिमाग में वो सेविंग का भूत अभी भी सड़ा हुआ. 10 रुपया fuel में सेविंग होगा. So this is how a new thing is happening, and this culture slowly is coming. The old is mixing with the new, and there are new things which are coming. Economic forces are coming, new market forces are coming, political changes are happening, war, merger, new alignments, global catastrophes are happening like pollution, weather change, pandemic. With this, new technologies are coming, new media and communication are coming. All these are slowly changing that, and that's what is happening. It is forcing our behavior change. We are embracing new values, but new values का मतलब ये नहीं है पुराना values खत्म हो गया. We always take the purana values also in, and in between try to merge them together. Our first example of that is the first big change came into the Indian market is the globalization. Post globalization, all the foreign brands came, and all these things. First thing the foreign brand says, there is Indian consumer hai. Each consumer is rich, but none of them are spending. Compared to the American middle class, Indian middle class is actually much more wide. Each one is having some pushtani property or money. Each one is having some amount of solid gold, but these guys are not spending. So the first thing is that get them out of this culture of restraint. Tell them that you can. There is no guilt in spending after yourself. And new sort of communication started coming. There are many other things simultaneously happened with this: losing, unshackling of the woman, breaking of the joint family, media proliferation, small town came, birth of a young consumer. But these are, if I start talking on all these things, it will take about 3 more hours. So let's skip to that. Let's see that what are the brands started doing. The first thing is that multinational brands started to break the stranglehold of restraint and denial from the Indian mind. And there are brands who are actually propagating things which you used to denounce, like temptation, selfishness, self-gratification. These are no in Indian culture. But these people, they started saying, yeah, there is an AC ad where the father is telling his son that you go out in the sun. I'm not going to step out. I enjoy my AC. Which is contrary. No Indian father would have done it. There is a Cadbury's Temptation chocolate commercial which was talking about a plot, how the husband and wife plotting against each other, and the plot is what? Not to share the chocolate with anybody. How can I make him go somewhere so that I can eat the chocolate all alone? So selfishness. Bisk ফার্ম মারি অল্পেতে স্বাদ মেটে না এ স্বাদের ভাগ হবে না. So these are the kind of lines. For the first time, Indians started hearing about it. Pepsi came into India, and this is the first launch of the Pepsi ad. You have a look at this ad, then we'll discuss.
Are you ready for the magic?
Are you ready for the magic? Yeah! Are you ready for the magic? Are you ready for the magic? Here we go! Let the magic begin. Wow! It's there, Pepsi! Open up, 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 watch it now!
The magic has begun. They have Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
What is most interesting thing is that the foreign brand, they have found that in India there is one small place where the Western culture is thriving, and then they put Remo Fernandez wielding his Spanish guitar and Juhi Chawla, the vivacious Miss India at that point of time, then putting these two cultures together, and at the same time they are saying one refrain over and over again, and that is the year of opening up. That you open up from the culture of restraint, open up to the new ideas of self gratification, and also open your purse string, because there is no harm in spending money. So this is interesting. I don't think we have much time over there. I was thinking of going ahead with this, but let's we talked about the culture of the category. So let's look at the culture of category, because post-globalization, this is what happened. Whole lot of diamond companies who came to India, and these diamond companies, hello, these diamond companies, they try to find out the market in India, but Indian jewelry market is predominantly dominated by gold. The diamond was always there with the rich and famous, but how many diamonds you are going to sell? De Beer said that we need to sell diamond in India like the Indians buy gold, they should buy diamond. And we have got low-end diamonds, which is possible. You have got a new company, DTC. You will, oh, so it's affordable. Why can't you do that? It is very difficult. Then we thought that how to manage this. What is the culture of gold? Indians are sold on gold, because gold stands much more than a metal. It stands for something. We started to understand the meaning of gold in the consumer's mind, and we did focus groups and we did our interviews in which we have given them, said that what does gold mean? You give us a picture and explain what does that gold mean to you, and they have given. This is the collage of pictures they have said. Now, when you go to this picture, we ask them, what is this? They said that gold is family. What about this? They said the gold is friendship. What about this? The gold is trust. Gold is responsibility. Gold is shringar. Gold is care. Gold is relationship, commitment to each other. Gold is the tradition. Gold is sharing. Gold is continuity. So all these, gold means a very strong, bulging social world. It is a huge continuity of time. More than jewelry, it has got a huge meaning which comes to it. So if that is gold world, what is the cultural meaning of diamond? The moment we ask them to depict the cultural world of diamond, all the entire family vanishes. It's only me and my mon ami. You have predominantly youth as your consumer. There is a whole lot of sexual connotations, strong sexual, lot of skin, lot of bodies, lot of lonely seas, and me and my mon ami. These are the young, bold. That's what we have put it there. Trendy Western wear. These are coming into the world. And then what happened? We try to actually create the two cultural divide. What is gold? Gold is well-defined social codes and commitments. Diamond is always defined by individual codes. Gold rebels in quantity, more the merrier. Gold can take more gold, and gold can take more colors. With the gold, you have the crimson and these and that and other, more brightness. But the moment the diamond comes, all the color goes. It's only one black gown and one diamond. Gold is more inclusive. तुम्हारा gold है, इसका gold है, सबका gold है. Diamond is very, very individual stamp. Each diamond has its own history. Each diamond has its own luminance. Each diamond has its own query and its thing, and it is there for permanent thing. So there is a strong religious intonation for gold. Son ka Sita. Our janam mein we feed the child with a golden spoon. Even now, in our cremation also gold chahiye. So it is encompassing the entire life. Diamond mein kuch nahi hai. I've given you, it's only your relationship, and that's it. And that's, if you look at two icons, if the gold is Sita, then diamond is Urvashi. Then armed with this thing, what happens? We created a communication plan where we wanted to make diamond speak the language of the gold. Is it possible? Because it is basically usurping the meaning of gold and putting it into the context of diamond without destroying the exclusivity of diamond. Look at this commercial. I think with that we will we have to stop because the times given by me is almost going to be over. But I will look at this.
मेरे ख्वाब से उतरा है तू, मेरी आंखों का नूर, मेरा हीरा है तू। ख्वाब बांटे नहीं जाते, मैं अपना सपना दे रही हूँ तुझे, मेरा हीरा तेरी आंखों में रोशन रहे।
डायमंड विवाह ज्वेलरी, हीरा है सदा के लिए। DTC।
The most interesting thing is in the Indian context, how can you have within the society, you can include the society, you also maintain the exclusivity of gold, exclusivity of diamond. The marriage situation is the society. The mother, to the mother, her son is a hero. She said that I build my all hope. You are my single. You are not replaceable. You are irreplaceable. But now that you have grown up, it's time for me to give my diamond, pass on to the lady of your love, of your lady love, who will be now weaving her dreams around you. And therefore, it is again exclusive. There's a very interesting move in the movie where this headgear is tilted. The ma, as usual, wanted to fix it. Comes in the daughter-in-law, said, "Hold on, woman. This is my man. This is my responsibility." So therefore, the baton has to pass. So to take ownership of the baton, the symbolic representation of that is that diamond necklace. And there is a very interesting reaction shot. Everybody was actually gasping at the look of that. And that's a very, very, very social gold reaction on that. So therefore, what happens? We are not compromising on the world of gold, but we are not also diluting the exclusivity of diamond. And we are trying to speak diamond gold's language in the context of diamond. And DTC became very popular. It's become, India becomes the third largest exposure of diamond, sale of diamond in India. So that's it. What we are trying to do, there are much more things we talked about. The new culture which is coming, from country, the culture is going across the world. Today, globalization has brought us together, but there is a reverse reaction to this also. Worlds are again coming up. If globalization has flattened the world, again narrow things, narrow sectoral things and communal feelings are coming. And there are many countries who are now trying to create walls. There is one building is being built by Donald Trump. Only 10 years before that, the Berlin Wall has been shattered. Everywhere you will be seeing that there are people who are moving out from one country to another. You have that iconic picture of the little girl's dead body floating in the seashore, which was an iconic thing. So everywhere, the brands are trying to say that if don't shut your world, there are people who are living, and this is Amnesty International campaign, which tries to say that birth of a new culture needs to come, and this culture is actually honoring people who are equally talented. There are 10 refugees who have participated in the 2016 Olympics, but who couldn't claim any affiliation to a country. Ogilvy worked with them, and then they created a flag out of this and create a new culture. Probably that's the way the future is going on. Let's see. With this thing, we'll come to the end of my session, and we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Kishore.
I'll just run this, and then we'll complete it.
For the first time ever, a refugee team was going to compete in the Olympics. 10 athletes with no national team, no flag, and no anthem to call their own. The whole world was looking at them. Could we turn a team of 10 into a team of millions?
The Olympic refugees have been making a name for themselves, and now they may have a flag.
Essa bandeira aqui é a bandeira dos refugiados. E a inspiração veio das cores do colete salva-vidas.
We partnered with refugees across the globe to design a flag and compose an anthem to represent the athletes.
Black and orange is a symbol of solidarity with all the brave souls that had to cross the sea to look for safety in a new country.
Refugee athletes embraced the national symbols.
Eu também vou levar a bandeira do meu time refugiado.
The crowd got 2 new colors to cheer for, and in one of the most formal and organized events, a new nation broke in, raising a flag for those who were forced to leave their own countries. From Lesbos to Kakuma, refugee camps now shared a symbol of hope.
Bandeira para os refugiados significa muito.
And for the first time ever, a symbolic nation was officially recognized at the One Young World Summit.
Qatar, the refugee nation.
The flag made it to the most political Oscars ever.
With refugees everywhere, I'm actually wearing a pin for the refugee nation as well.
And was exhibited at MoMA and the Victoria and Albert Museum.
We live in such a visual world now that people will start to recognize the flag with the discussion.
The flag is in the permanent collection of the V&A Museum now because it marks a crucial moment in the contemporary history.
So that's the story from the local to the country to the world. Culture is moving on as the world is getting compressed, as the world is getting more and more coming up with each other. Like this pandemic, something is happening here. It will affect everything. It is more necessary for today to understand the emerging culture of the world rather than your own culture also, because brands will be playing in a much more bigger field. And this is what we, as students of marketing, we need to always study and think forward. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Wonderful, Kishore. I think we are all enamored by your culture insights. I don't see many questions coming in because everybody must have been so enthralled by your exposition that people are just observing you and appreciating you silently. However, there's one question from somebody called Kirti Datta. She wants to know what would be your take on Tiffany brand in India? Tiffany's.
See, I'm not very sure about a particular brand over here, but I've already talked about the gold and diamond. So there I think have the answer. You got to find out where you connect culturally with Indian consumers, because diamond is a foreign culture, which Indians are not associated. So you take an Indian culture, Indian jewelry version is gold, and gold is social, gold is religious, gold is inclusive, gold is transformational. You can melt your gold and you can rebuild the thing. But as far as diamond is concerned, there is a fixedness in diamond. So maintaining, you cannot change diamond, you cannot cut the diamond. The moment you try to alter a diamond, the diamond loses its originality. One diamond is like a star, and diamond is forever. So how can you have that foreverness into the social context of India? I've shown you in that commercial. Probably somewhere Tiffany has also to find its answer.
True. So wonderful to listen to you. Shujit, take over.
Okay, no, there are some more questions. Shovan, it will be on your thing. Shudeep Malik has a question. He says, you see that question, and below that some more questions have come up. Kasturi Chakravarty, Bondali Das,
just now,
there'll be recent pops. Yeah.
What Shudip is asking is that in the ad industry, which is predominantly English speaking, upper middle class and westernized, can they relate to vernacular speaking Desi culture except the superficial transaction?
You see, the entire advertising industry has evolved. At one point of time, in those days, everybody was very bothered about English. You see, I have shown in the medical, everybody was talking about English, including the accountant. He said, "Yeah, English, this is not good English." So just because you can write a sentence, everybody is bothered about English. And then in that case, if you know, during 90s, Piyush Pandey, Prasun Joshi and the new batch of people, "Humko Binis mangta." That's the first ad. People actually woke up and said, "Ye kya hai? This is not talking Queen's English. This is talking about our people." And that imagination of us, which is coming out, Dhak Dhak India, Desh Ka Namak. So all these things, big brands, they are talking about own country. So actually, advertising has become much more pan India and connecting with India in a much more different way.
True. There's another question from Kosturi. She's asking, in a modern world post 2000, how do you think the influence of culture in jewelry, especially precious stones, has changed within families as opposed to the older advertisement shown?
It will be much more of a symbolic thing because, more and more values are coming. The brands are getting liberated from the physicality. It has to attach itself to a more bigger emotional value. Who is your hero? Who is your diamond? Diamond is a state of mind. Diamond is a yardstick of emotional measurement. So if you go that way, I think the advertising will go that way. People will not appreciate it. Itna bada diamond hai, isko crore ka paisa hai, ye hai. People have gone through that. You see, in the previous case study presentation, Mr. Hardeep Singh was saying that the fan industry, fan advertising at one point of time actually got frozen, and it came with a blast of wind. The last campaign was an Hawa Ka Jhonka. It was still physical. And none of these brands who were leading, they could actually go forward. It took Havells to come in. And Havel came in with what? Havel came in with the line that Hawa badal rahe. Let's not talk about delivery, ball bearing, color, etc. We are talking about wind of change. And that's how you got to it. In a similar way, the brands will also have to think from the physicality to the emotional connect to the idea of exclusiveness. Yeah.
Okay, there is another question from Omio Chaudhary. He's asking, will the culture context help in... Hello. Will the culture context help Indian people to adopt mass culture in COVID invasion?
Well, to a certain extent, yes. Because it will be different. Today, what we are doing, looking at COVID, it is changing us in a major way. We are suddenly finding that every parameter is changing. If you look at, I had one Lipton commercial, which is very interesting, which has been done in the context of COVID. Is it possible for me to? Is there any time? Then I can run this. I think that will.
Let's see it. Let's see.
Look at this.
आ गया अमित हॉस्पिटल से देखो मैं कह रहा हूँ महीने भर उसके घर से दूर रहेंगे, गेट के पास भी नहीं जाएंगे और सारी खिड़कियां बंद कर देते हैं। ये तीसरा कप किसके लिए?
अमित के लिए।
क्या?
उसे अकेले रहने के लिए कहा है, अकेला छोड़ने के लिए नहीं।
हम दूर रहकर भी अपनापन दिखा सकते हैं। ब्रुपॉन रेड लेबल, स्वाद अपनेपन का।
What I'm trying to say, the fundamental Indian culture is in inclusiveness. If you can the inclusiveness doesn't go, even if in isolation. Mentally, if you understand that, then the brands have got a much bigger responsibility today in the COVID world to become the messiah of these messages of what is powerful, what is inclusive, what is binding us together, what is our Indian spirit. So let's see what are the other brands also do.
Okay, there is one question from Pooja Shashwat. She's saying, with customer intelligence growing, what challenge you think are posing for advertisers?
Yeah, the biggest question is, don't try to be smart with the customer. Because if you are giving a lip service and you think you have done many things, then in that case there is a problem. I think I have one more slide which will explain it visually. I'll show you that. Look at this Lays. They are trying to show people that we are helping the farmer grow better life because we are buying potatoes from them. Their life is changing, and the packets are.
Kishore, press
Hello.
F5. Press F5. Make it big screen. Yeah. Thank you.
See, everywhere they are trying to show that we are actually building the rural economy. We are helping the kisan. We are changing their lives, and so many. Falana bahut kuch hai. Look at consumer reaction. Somebody said, great consumer marketing, would like to know how this brand communicating gratitude on the ground to those group of people should be a great case study. ठीक है, but look at the other one beyond the wow. I fail to understand the purpose of this action. The colors are hard coded with flavors. Do people really care for messaging on the cover? Impact. The packaging itself is a pollutant, and the content inside expensively unhealthy food laced with elements to create a craving. Perhaps such show of empathy is designed only with one objective: sell more, profit more. The poor farmer does not exist anymore. And the third one is even more important. People have already seen through your commercial purpose. The third one is actually reaping up the scandal. Hey, can you tell me what happened to that 2019 case where PepsiCo sued farmers millions each for cultivating similar kind of potato and then offered settlement? Khol liya na? Poll khol diya na? So I think this is the right thing. Don't try to be smart and don't try to believe something which you really believe. More than any time, brands have to be honest today. More than any time, marketers have to be the messiahs because they are joining hands with technology and discovering the new world where nobody has got any. Koi pandit ji aake bol nahi sakenge, kya karenge? You need to understand that what is the implication of that. You need to tell them people that, look, if you are using this camera, this is an X-ray camera. It can actually open up many things, but this is the way to maintain your privacy. If you go to a hotel, check out that whether that glass is one-way glass or two-way glass. How to check out whether there is a hidden camera. Because these are technologies then, and these are technologies treachery. So it is only the manufacturer who can give you what is the bad side of it and create the new rules. Okay.
Thank you. I think that answers all the questions which came here. Shujit, you take over.
Well, I think, Shobhan, you and I will never ever attend a session by Kishore. I can tell you that. I can say it on your behalf also. He makes us feel so কত জানে আমরা জানি না মানে
True
we
that.
know so little.
True that.
Kishore, I mean, like, how do you see all this that we don't see? We do the same thing, but we also plow. But you in your whole plowing, you have got a different perspective. And I'm sure one reason why there have been very few questions this time, Shovan, I assure you, because he has been so clear in his analysis and in his thoughts that that he has not left anything much to really ask. But there is one little comment that I saw when you were mentioning about the the marketing executive suited tied, with all running for a free bottle of water, holding another bottle of water in their hand. Has said something interesting. Says that we Indians are all freedom fighters. Whenever there is something free, we all land up over there. I think it's very well said. And Omyu Babu is actually now put it down. The Babu understanding culture deeply. I think we can only say this. Babu has told you just now, Kishore, that you all.
I can't. My audio is a little inaudible because your voice is coming in bits and pieces. So I've not been able to read. But whatever I have heard, you are embarrassing me now because.
I'm and if I'm embarrassing you, I'm doing it on purpose, so that we have a little room later when we catch up. And Shovan, I think we must keep holding these kind of sessions in this pattern. And one thing I would like to ask, absolutely great fun, man, great fun. And it is the honest truth. And I would love to see that if you have put all that down, what you're saying in your book, the second book, Denial Desire, that this is a caste system which actually runs the Indian and the consumer system. Oh my God, that's something really heavy. But also I hope that's really going deep into it.
I request my listener to buy this book because the book writer is a very poor person.
We'll all make you rich. We are all we are so therefore we don't fall into the rich people category. But I would really like to know from. I mean, I'm not saying do it now because I'm thinking where people are all running for their IPL. But the fact is that I would love to have all the comments from people who watch this program today, because our comment line in any case is open. You can comment in this on the Facebook page and tell us what kind of more case studies you would like to hear. If you have anybody in mind, and hopefully by next Saturday, which is coming up. But after Hardeep and Kishore, the bench confirm that we struggle, and the speaker. That I think is where today's evening success lies. And on behalf of Shovan and Deshpriyo and before I say the big thank you, I must tell our viewers that on 8th of this month, that is 8th October, we're having a Adda. It's called the Wackos of Indian Advertising, and Monojit Lahiri, the veteran advertising person, will lead the discussion. It will be a bilingual Biggaponer Pagla Dashura. So we are going to talk about all the Pagla Dashus we have had in every agency. Every agency has had their Wackos and Pagla Dashus. So there'll be a chat show on that. If any of y'all who want to tell us the story of some Pagla Dashu or some Wacko in the agency or in your advertising profession, you are most welcome to join the discussion. All you do is to say that I want to be included, and send your WhatsApp number to olliesAdda@gmail so that we can coordinate. The Deshpriyo can coordinate, and as we chat along with Mr. Lahiri, you all can come in between. Only one of the great Wackos and one of our closest and the greatest friend, all of us over here, who we cannot take because that is something that I have opted to take, is Bapi Basu. Right? So other than Bapi Basu, you all can bring in anybody you all feel like, because that I reserve it for myself. Now, that's number one. And on the 15th of this month, 15th of October, we are having another Adda that is going to be in Bangla, that is going to be titled বঙ্গজীবনে বড়লিনের বিজ্ঞাপন অর্থাৎ we are going to talk about all the celebrity ads that have been created by Borolin on Bongojibon in for Durga Pujo, Halkhata, Noboborsho, and then your even Nehru Cup, I mean whatever. The response team, although the people who were in response, they will present the creative, the strategy, and Mr. Siddhartha Rai of response will lead that particular thing. That's all about where old ads have been collected. For the 10th, please watch out. We will let you know. And as I told you about the members, please ask us for membership forms and become members, either an associate member or voting right member. Discussed. And so we end this. I thought it will take that much because longer. Yes, many of you all have said that some sessions, but you will come back to us. We'll drag you back actually. Keep working on these people so that we get this. And a big thank you to all of you for coming and standing. Shomon, thank you. Deshpriyo, thank you. And Kishore, finally, last but not the least, as they say in English.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
খুব
Pleasure
ভালো
was
হয়েছে
mine.
বস, খুব ভালো হয়েছে, দারুণ। ওকে, বাই বাই।
Bye.
ফাটাফাটি।
ফাটাফাটি, একদম ফাটাফাটি রে ভাই। হ্যাঁ।
Yeah, he is the real master mosai of.
He is the real master মশাই। এবার আমাদের বার করে দে, তুই বার না করলে আমরা বেরোতে পারছি না।
আমি কি করে বার করব? ও তো দেশপ্রিয় বার করবে।
Yeah, bye everyone.